kaya nga preliminary, nauuna siya. First, negative likeness of the edentulous arch and is primarily used for diagnosis, treatment planning, and the fabrication of your custom tray. So this captures all observable structures and extends slightly beyond the beyond sorry to record the limiting anatomical areas. So purposefully overextended, okay? So it's purposefully overextended, sinosobrahan talaga natin to identify the muscle attachments, the vestibular depth, and the bony prominences and any undercuts do sa ridge ng patients nyo if there are any, okay? So it also provides an accurate negative copy of the patient's oral structures. So from this impression, a diagnostic cast is then made, which serves as the foundation for planning and constructing your custom tray for your final impression. So step by step siya. Okay? So accuracy at this stage sets the stage for a well-fitting denture later on. Kaya nga minsan pagka nagpapacheck din kayo sa amin, ay hindi pa pwede yan, kulang pa ng ganito, kulang pa ng ganyan. So may mga pinapa-repeat pa rin kami. Okay? So after taking the preliminary impression, we pour it to create a diagnostic cast. So diagnostic cast is a positive replica of the patient's oral structures. So this is made from the preliminary or the primary impression, capturing an overextended and accurate details of the arch ng pasyente nyo. Okay? So it serves as a life-size reproduction of the oral cavity and relevant facial structures. So this is used to study the arch form or the arch anatomy, even if your patient is not there in the clinic, for treatment planning and fabrication of the custom tray, rather, for the final impression. So what is the clinical relevance for this? This diagnostic cast would provide a stable and accessible model to assess the ridge shape, the undercuts, and the other anatomical landmarks. So this will also help ensure that the custom tray and final denture are properly designed. Okay? So yan ang ginagamit natin. Kaya nakakagawa tayo netong individual tray. So without the diagnostic cast, you will not be able to fabricate your diagnostic tray. Okay? So for the diagnostic tray, once we have the diagnostic cast, the next step is to do an individualized or custom tray. So this tray is specifically designed for the patient's arch. Kaya nga sa custom tray, customized siya based on your patient's arch. Okay? So hindi siya pwede nung ito yung yung iba kasi ang tawag nila custom tray, stock tray. So hindi, when we say custom tray or individual tray, ito yung gamit natin is the light cured resin, the acrylic resin, or the shellac. Okay? When we talk about the stock tray kasi, yun ay metal. Okay? So kayo malilito ha? This is constructed directly on the diagnostic cast from the preliminary impression and is designed to fit the patient's arch precisely, including all anatomical features and extensions. So the purpose for this, why do we need to do this, is for it to hold the final impression material and capture the accurate details of the supporting tissues. So this ensures uniform thickness of your impression material, which improves rather the accuracy of your final impression. Kasi kapag gumamit tayo ng just the regular trays, ang problema niyan, minsan mas madiin on one side as compared to the other. So, pagka ginawa kasi natin yung individual tray, di ba may spacer kayo dyan, which is usually 1 to 2 strips ng wax plate nyo. So, meaning, iisa yung pinaka-space na napoprovide nyo pag ganyan. Okay? So, properly made custom trays would reduce errors and overextension that would lead to better fitting of your denture and comfort for your patients. Now, for final impression, first thing that we will do is to do a border molding. So, after your individual tray, border molding muna tayo. So, border molding is the process rather, of shaping the edges of the custom tray so that the final impression accurately captures the functional limits of your oral structures. So it simulates the functional movements of the muscle that influence the borders of the denture, ensures that the denture fits without interfering with the muscle activity. Kasi again, pagka overextended ka masyado, madidislodge yung denture mo. So what are the different movements that we have to consider? So when we're taking the maxillary border molding, when we're doing the maxillary border molding, we should ask the patient, or we should pull the cheeks or yung mga soft tissues up, out, down, and in motion. So yan yung mga pucker please, smile po. Okay, tapos put yung sasabihin niyo lang na, okay, pucker your lips. Yung parang move lang natin yung jaw ng pasyente natin. And also, huwag niyo kakalimutan tongue out. Okay? Kasi kapag hindi niyo pinatong out ang pasyente niyo, then you will not be able to capture yung sa lingual portion niya or the lingual vestibules. Okay? So the extent of the denture border, yung functional limit niya, this is the extent of the denture border relative to the movement and health of surrounding tissues. So the correct placement ensures that the flanges of the denture would reach the functional limit. Hanggang saan ba yung pinaka-denture natin? Okay? So for peripheral seal, this is achieved when the denture border is properly extended, contacting the underlying and adjacent mucosa or soft tissues, and prevents air, food, or liquid from getting under the denture, which enhances the retention and stability of your denture. Yan yung kaya pagkatapos mo mag-final impression, hindi mo siya matanggal. So the more suction, the better the peripheral seal. Ang ginagawa natin dyan, so for example, ang ganda talaga ng peripheral seal mo, hindi mo matanggal. Dok, ayaw matanggal. Ask your patient to blow, close their mouth and blow nang naka-cover yung nose sila para magkaroon ng space, para ma-break mo yung peripheral seal. Or another technique that you can do is you can use your three-way syringe and then you press yung pinaka air to insert lang. Mabe-break seal nun para siya with comfort kay patient. Okay? So for posterior palatal seal, after border molding, we need to define the posterior limit of the maxillary denture. So this is to ensure the retention and stability of your denture, and this involves two key concepts. So ano ba yung two key concepts natin? So the first one would be the posterior palatal seal or your PPS. And then we have the vibrating line. So we've discussed this earlier. Quick run through na lang tayo dito ngayon. Okay? So for posterior palatal seal, this is located in the glandular zone, rather, at the posterior end of your maxillary arch. So nandun siya sa dulo. Okay? Purpose of this is that it is compressed slightly to enhance the denture retention, compensates for a crescent shrinkage during the denture processing. Okay? Kasi nga lahat ng polymerization, may shrinkage yan. So we have to compensate. Ahead of time, alam na natin, ito, mangyayari to. So we would have to prevent or do something before pa mangyari yung problem na yon. Okay? So proper PPS ensures that the denture would stay in place without causing discomfort to your patients. Now to discuss the vibrating line, again, a vibrating line is an imaginary line across the posterior palate that separates the movable and immovable tissues of your soft palate. Okay? So how do we identify the vibrating line again? We slightly elevate, it is slightly elevated when the patient says, yung ganon. So matagal niyong ipapanganga yung pasyente. Sabihin niyo po, ganun kayo. May kita mo yan, magva-vibrate talaga yan. So, unfortunately kasi dito, wala tayo nung pen na pinangsusulat. So, sa soft tissue. But siguro sa private practice nyo, you can buy that. Tapos, inaano nyo lang siya. Tinitrace nyo yun while your patient is saying, yung mga ganon. Tapos, iti-trace nyo and then you place back your final impression. Tapos, magta-transfer yun dun sa final impression nyo. Katulad nung dito. Okay? Nagta-transfer siya. Okay? So, anterior to this line, the palate would remain static during phonation. Kaya nga hanggang dun lang tayo sa soft tissue. Kasi, pagka lumampas na tayo dyan, matigas na yan. Hindi na yan movable. Okay? So, this determines the posterior extent of the maxillary denture, ensuring that it does not interfere with the soft palate movement. So, after taking the final impression, once you're done, okay na lahat, nalagay mo na yung vibrating line, nalagay mo na yung okay ka na dun sa peripheral seal mo, may suction ka na, then that's the time na gagawa na tayo ng master cast. So, a master cast is a definitive positive replica of your edentulous arch. So, take note of the term definitive, okay? So, it has to be very accurate now. So, yung una, again, with the preliminary cast or diagnostic cast, that's for just study purposes. So, gross anatomy lang ang kailangan natin. Now, here for the master cast, since this will be your working cast, kailangan accurate na siya. Okay? Even the undercuts, kailangan nakuha mo na siya for you to be able to block out properly. So, the master cast is made from the final impression. It also provides a precise life-size model of the oral tissue. So kapag tinanong kayo ng merong mga term na precise, ng very accurate, yung mga ganon, ibig sabihin master cast o kaya final impression ang tinatanong sa inyo. Okay? This is used for denture fabrication, occlusal setup, and assessing the ridge form and anatomy of your patients. Now again, just a quick recap. What is the direction of ridge resorption? So understanding how the residual ridge changes over time is very critical for denture design and the stability. So again, for maxilla, it resorbs superiorly and posteriorly, which means it resorbs upward and inward. It constricts. Okay, umatras siya. So then, the maxilla would narrow over time. So, nagko-constrict. When we talk about the mandible, it resorbs inferiorly and anteriorly, meaning it resorbs downward and outward. Ang effect nun, then the mandible would widen over time. Kaya nagiging class 3 sila. Tatandaan nyo lang, kapag tinatanong kayo, ridge resorption, usually pag CD patient, class 3 eh. Bakit nga ba? Kasi umatras yung taas, humaba yung sa baba. Yung mga ganon. Okay? So, i-analyze mo. When you're answering questions, you analyze when you're answering the board exam, you analyze the questions. Ano bang nangyayari? Ano ba yung na-encounter ko sa clinic? Yung mga ganon. Okay? Kaya even if you don't know or you're not the answer, if you analyze the questions properly, you will be able to answer it properly. Okay? So the mandibular, again, resorption occurs 4 times more faster than your maxilla, which leads to a pseudo class 3 profile or a sunken lower face. So the knowledge of resorption patterns is very important, especially for the denture-based adaptation, the occlusal plane orientation, and the long-term stability and aesthetics. Okay? Doon pa lang makikita nyo na kung tatagal yung denture or hindi. Now, before we record the jaw relations and set up teeth, we need a stable platform in the patient's mouth. Siyempre, hindi mo naman pwedeng kabitan ng ngipin lang or kabitan mo na agad ng OCR yung bibig ng pasyente mo, di ba? So, kailangan mo ng something hard to place on top of your patient's ridge for you to be able to set up the teeth properly. Okay? So, this is provided nagamit nating term. But sometimes in your board exam questionnaires, you will only get the record-based answer. Okay? So, iisa lang po yan. Huwag kayong malilito. Baka mamaya nahanap nyo yung trial denture base. It's the same as your record base. So, this is a temporary or interim denture base used to support the wax occlusion rims for recording the maxillomandibular relations. So, it represents the base of the future denture during jaw relation recording and tooth arrangement. So, what are the key features of this? It should be well adapted to the edentulous ridge. It should be smooth and rounded, okay? To prevent tissue irritation. Kaya nga minsan kinakaskas natin sa ano natin yan, 'di ba? Sa arm natin. Kapag pumuti yung arm natin, dry skin ka. Charis. Hindi, pag pumuti yung arm mo, ibig sabihin matalas pa. So you have to sand out yung portion pa na yon. Okay? So it should be accurate, an accurate reproduction of the arch form, and has a proper thickness for strength without the bulk. Frenum relief, also, you have to place the frenum relief to avoid impingement of the muscle attachments. Okay? So again, kapag gumamit tayo, kasi I will quickly lang i-discuss din natin yung materials for denture base. There are 3 materials that you can use in terms of fabricating the denture base. So you have your shellac, you have your VLC, and you have your acrylic. So in the board exam, what we use would be the VLC kasi mas madali siyang i-manipulate. But you have to consider, pag VLC ang ginamit nyo, maganda ang compressive strength niya when you try to, parang yung iitsa nyo siya, o kaya ilaglag nyo siya, you try to drop it, hindi siya mababasag. But if you try to flex, kapag ka-press mo yan, mababali yan. Okay? So, yung flexure niya is not as good as your acrylic, as your shellac. Shellac is harder than your VLC in terms of the flexibility and much easier to repair. Kasi iinitan mo lang yan eh. Tapos magkadikit na sila. Ang problem natin with the shellac, kasi dahil heat ang nagmamanipulate sa kanya, every time na nagfi-fiston na tayo or nagtatambak na tayo ng wax, bumubuka siya. So we have to readapt again. Okay? So if you're going to use shellac sa board exam, always remember that before you pass your denture, you have to readapt. You heat again yung pinaka-trial denture base mo, and then you push using a cotton with water for you to be able to readapt it to the master cast. Okay? So this would provide a stable foundation for accurate recording of your vertical dimension, your centric relation, and your occlusal plane orientation. So it ensures also comfort and safety for the patient during the jaw relation records and your wax rim try-ins. Okay? So in complete denture, this must function effectively or efficiently rather and comfortably. So there are 3 fundamental properties which are essential in terms of fabricating your complete denture. Katulad nga yung sinabi natin dun sa introduction pa lang. Okay? So first one would be your retention, which is the resistance to vertical dislodgement away from the supporting tissues. So this retention, meaning, pagka ang tinatanong sa inyo would be the resistance to vertical dislodgement, that's the keyword, ibig sabihin retention ang tinatanong. Okay? Meaning kasi pagka nalalaglag ba, di ba pagka nalalaglag, it's a vertical dislodgement. So, retention tayo doon. Okay? Wait lang. Okay. Now to discuss stability. Stability is the resistance to horizontal or lateral displacement. Okay? Kaya nga tinatanong natin, nagra-rock ba? Stable ba? Okay? Yun ang stability. Meaning, sa gilid-gilid siya. Prevents the denture from rocking side to side during chewing or speaking. So again, if they're asking you a question about the resistance to vertical dislodgement, natatanggal ba? Then they're asking for the retention. Kung ang tinatanong nila is the rocking or lateral displacement side to side, tinatanong nila kung stable ba, then they're asking for the stability ng denture mo. Now for the support, this is the resistance to vertical forces towards the underlying tissues. So pababa siya, towards your soft tissues na siya. So this prevents the denture from sinking into the soft tissue, which will then cause soreness sa pasyente nyo. Okay? So the properties again would be your retention, your resistance of vertical dislodgement away from the bearing surfaces, while your support is the resistance to vertical forces towards the tissues. Okay? Huwag kayong malilito dyan. So certain areas of the residual ridge and surrounding structures can bear masticatory stress more effectively. These are classified as primary and secondary. So you have for the maxilla, that would be your hard palate and residual ridge. For your mandible, that will be your buccal shelf. Okay? For secondary, for maxilla, that's your rugae and your tuberosity. For the mandible, that's your residual shelf. Okay? A residual ridge, rather. So denture bases should maximize the coverage of these stress-bearing areas to improve the comfort and stability and function of your dentures. Okay? Tapos as you noticed here, may nilagay ako na natural teeth yung biting force kasi sometimes tinatanong nila yan sa board exam. Okay? So for natural teeth, it can withstand 250 pounds, while for complete dentures, it can only withstand 25 pounds. So with that, dentures transmit only about 10% of the biting force of natural teeth, so the design must compensate with the proper stress distribution and fit. Okay? Kaya ang inaano nila is wait lang. So kaya ang sinasabi natin ay hindi nyo po pwedeng ipanguya sa mga matitigas yan. Okay? Kasi nga 25 pounds lang ang kaya niya. Wait lang. Okay, moving forward. Retention is the denture's ability to resist the vertical dimension and depends on several key factors. So ano-ano ba yung mga factors that would affect the retention of our dentures? So for adhesion, this is the attraction between unlike molecules. So for example, that would be your saliva to the denture base. Diba? Unlike molecules sila, but they would still adhere to each other. So this will help the denture stick slightly to the soft tissues. So when we talk about the cohesion, this is the attraction between the molecules, between like molecules rather. That means it's the saliva molecules to each other. So this would create a film of saliva that would contribute to the retention ng denture mo. Next one would be your interfacial surface tension. So interfacial surface tension maintains close contact. Most important, this is the most important portion, okay? Or most important factor for retention. For atmospheric pressure, this works with the peripheral seal to help keep the denture in place. Air trapped under the denture would create a suction that resists dislodgement. So, yun yung mga binibreak natin. Kapag ka kunyari, ayaw matanggal nung pinaka-denture mo. So, yun ang ginagawa natin. Kaya naglalagay tayo ng air using the three-way syringe. Okay? So, do you have questions so far? May questions po? Wala?
None, no.
Sige, sabihan niyo ako pag masyadong mabilis, ha? So the clinical tip for this is that denture adhesives can improve retention temporarily. Okay? Take note of the temporarily kasi hindi siya dapat yung nagbibigay talaga nung pinaka retention. So, additional na lang siya. Kung kunyari, hindi talaga si patient, hindi talaga magpa-bone grafting, hindi talaga, ayaw niya talaga magpa-vestibuloplasty, then you should ask your patient or inform your patient na, pero ito po, hihingi tayo ng tulong sa Polident. Yung mga ganon, di ba? So denture adhesives can improve retention temporarily, but they should not be relied on as the primary mechanism. So proper denture design and border seal are far more important. So now to discuss the occlusion rim. This is a wax structure fabricated on a record base that serves as a guide for recording jaw relations and arranging the denture teeth. So this is constructed on the record base, which is your trial denture base again, and is used to record the maxillomandibular relationships such as your vertical dimension, your centric relation, and your occlusal plane orientation. So this would act as a template for selecting and setting the denture teeth. So siya yung nilalagyan natin. Sa kanya tayo nagsisetting. So properly made occlusion rims would ensure that you would have an accurate vertical and horizontal jaw relation or jaw relation records, correct tooth position, and the correct occlusal plane orientation. Okay? This would also give you an idea about the comfort and aesthetics for the patient even before you have your dentures fabricated. So ito na yung neutral zone na kanina ko pang binabanggit. So in complete denture construction, the neutral zone is a key concept for the denture stability and comfort. So we have lectured the retention already. Now we're lecturing yung stability. Paano ba nagiging stable yung dentures na ginagawa natin sa pasyente? So the neutral zone, to define this is the space between the lips and cheeks and the tongue. So this is also described as an area where the opposing muscular forces are in equilibrium. Equilibrium meaning in the resting position or equal. Okay, so ito yan. Yung space na to, this is what we call the neutral zone. Kapag wala kang neutral zone, then most of the time your patient will have cheek biting. Ay makikita nyo naman sa intraoral ng pasyente nyo. Or pagka masyadong lingualized yung pagkakaset nyo ng ipin, then you can see dun sa tongue niya, may mga bakas na tumatama yung ipin natin. Okay? So the tongue pushes outward while the lips and cheeks would push inward. Diba? Yun yung usual na nangyayari. So the denture placed within this zone experiences balance forces and reducing the risk of dislodgement. Kasi kapag walang space yan, kaya nga nandun sa una natin kaya ang gagawin natin is we also assess the size of the tongue. Kasi pag masyadong malaki yung tongue, tapos wala tayong nailagay na neutral zone, then matatanggal lang yan. Malalaro ng dila. Okay? Kaya tinitingnan natin, hindi po ba natatanggal? Hindi po ba nalalaglag? Kamusta po yung denture? May masakit po ba? May tumatama po ba sa pisngi? Pagkang mga po ba kayo ay gumagalaw? So most of the time, kapag ka ganon, nangunganga yung patient mo, the moment they stretch their cheeks, and then the dentures would rock, then you don't have enough neutral zone. Okay? So iset nyo, pasok nyo ng onte, or itayo nyo yung mga pontics nyo. Okay? So this is especially important for the mandibular dentures, which are less stable due to the resorption patterns. Because again, resorption patterns of the mandibular arch would resorb 4 times faster as compared to your maxillary. So the denture teeth and flanges should be positioned within the neutral zone. Nandoon lang siya, sa gitna lang yung neutral zone. Okay? Ito, if you look at it from the side view, ganyan siya. Dapat. Okay? So this would help prevent denture tipping or displacement of the denture, soreness, or trauma to the oral tissues. Most of the time, ang nakikita ko dyan, walang neutral zone sa may anterior portion. Okay? Kaya natatanggal. Tsaka yung sa gilid, dito banda, lalo sa lingual portion natin, no? Kinukulang ng neutral zone. So, ang tendency, once your patient talks or they're opening their mouth, they're functioning, yung pinaka-oral cavity nila, nag-rock yung pinaka-denture mo. So, bawas ka lang naman dyan. Dok, anong gagawin ko kapag ganun, ng process na, tapos na yung denture, pero gumagalaw pa rin, hindi stable yung denture ko, wala akong neutral zone. Then, bawas ka lang dun sa portion na yun. Kapain mo kung saan ba yung kulang ka. Or tignan mo maigi. Ask your patient to open their mouth several times. Check kung saang portion siya tumatama. And then, that's the only portion na babawasan mo. Kasi if you reduce too much, retention naman ang mako-compromise sa'yo. Okay? Now, to discuss the positional relations, vertical dimension refers to the distance between the two selected anatomic points. So usually one on the tip of the nose and then one on the chin. Okay? So this is used to guide the denture occlusion and the facial proportions of your patients. Kaya pagka mga nagpapa-CI kayo sa akin, tapos kukuha tayo ng video o VDR, I would always ask you, do you have a Bowley gauge? Okay? Kasi once na may Bowley gauge ka, you can lock that Bowley gauge into place, and then you can also check if proportion na yung rule of thirds. Okay? So for vertical dimension at crest, this is the distance between the selected points when the mandible is in relaxed and physiologic resting position. So this is determined when the muscles are relaxed and the teeth apart. So yan yung may freeway space tayo. Okay? Yan yung dinidiscuss natin earlier. So this would help us establish the proper denture height for facial aesthetics, first of all, to avoid collapsing or yung overclosed appearance, yung parang nakasunken yung cheeks niya, nakalubog, and forms the basis for the determining of the VDO or the vertical dimension of occlusion. Kasi again, ang freeway space natin is only 2 to 4 millimeters. Okay? Now for the physiologic rest position or your RP, this is the mandibular position wherein the head is upright and the muscles of mastications are in tonic equilibrium. Okay? Resting si patient mo. So in this position, elevator and depressor muscles are balanced and your condylar position is in neutral position and unstrained. Okay? So this would provide a reference for establishing the vertical dimension. So to discuss the freeway space or the interocclusal distance, another term yan for freeway space. So sometimes kasi sa board exam, they would use several terms. So kailangan alamin nyo na, okay, ang tinatanong is freeway space. So ang tinatanong niya is same as the interocclusal distance. Kasi interocclusal, meaning occlusal, yung mga ngipin mo, inter yung gitna. So yung distance daw nung gitna nung maxillary and mandibular teeth mo. Okay? So, ganun yun lang siya. Minsan kakailanganin mong Tagalogin or in Filipino mo siya iintindihin para makuha mo kung ano ba yung hinahanap nilang sagot. Okay? So this represents the gap between the VDR and VDO, which is usually 2 to 4 millimeters space between the maxilla and the mandible. So this is done when the mandible is in the physiologic resting position. So this ensures comfort at rest ng pasyente and prevention of muscle fatigue or soreness. Kasi pag masyadong mataas ang VDR mo or ang VDO mo, then yung TMJ ng patients mo is mako-compromise. Palagi siyang ngalay. Dok, yung ano ko nga sa dentures ko, simula nag-dentures ako, parang nangangalay ako, sasakit yung ulo ko, sakit ng balikat ko, yung mga ganon. Kasi hindi tama yung pagkakakuha ng VDO-VDR. Okay? So, balik tayo dito sa freeway space and the vertical relation. This helps in determining the vertical dimension of occlusion. If it's too small, yung freeway space natin, it can cause muscle strain, soreness, and TMJ discomfort as I've discussed earlier. But if it's too large, then it may lead to collapsed appearance, yung sunken face appearance pa rin. Poor aesthetics and decrease in masticatory efficiency. Okay? Pag masyadong malaki yung freeway space mo. So, kailangan 2 to 4, within that range lang, 2 to 4 millimeters lang tayo. Okay? So, the vertical dimension of occlusion is the distance between 2 points. Wait lang. Sorry, mahirap yung may pamangkin sa bahay mo. Makulit, maingay. Anyway, vertical dimension of occlusion is the distance between two reference points, which is usually located on your nose, the tip of the nose, and the tip of the chin, and when occluding the members of the maxilla and the mandible when they are in contact. Okay? So the key concept here is that the VDO is equals to the VDR minus the freeway space. Okay? So again, VDO, paano mo nakukuha si VDO? Yung VDR ng patient mo, minus mo ng 2 to 4 millimeters. So that would be your VDO. Okay? So verification, how do we verify the vertical dimension? Dok, tama ba yung pagkakakuha ko ng vertical dimension ko? So you should check using these techniques. So you should check the physiologic resting position, the tests. So confirm if the mandible is in a relaxed and neutral position before setting the VDO. So tingnan mo maigi, repeatable ba yon? Phonetics, have the patient pronounce sibilants, frivocatives, and bilabial sounds. So later on, we will be discussing what are those. And ensure proper VDO for clearer speech ng pasyente nyo. Okay? Next, verification guide would be an aesthetic guide. So aesthetic guide, you have to check the facial proportions. So yung rule of thirds, rule of fifths, yung mga ganon. So the facial proportions. So kailangan nagko-coincide siya with each other. So it also ensures lip support and correct lower facial height. So for swallowing threshold, you observe the mandibular position during the swallowing position ng patient nyo. Kaya nga po, sige nga po, lunok nga po kayo. Doon mo titingnan. If same pa rin yung ibinibigay niya, then you have gotten the right VDO. Okay? Confirms comfortable VDO without muscular strain. Tatanungin mo rin si patient, ma'am, may nangangalay po ba? Masyado po ba nakakangalay? Or parang normal lang, mas naging komportable ka? Pagka ang sagot sa'yo, ay dok, umokay, mas naging komportable ko, then tama yung ginagawa mo. Pero pag sinabi niya na, dok, parang mas nangalay ako, so ibig sabihin, masyadong mataas yung VDO mo. Okay? So proper VDO ensures the comfort at rest and during function, facial aesthetics, and efficient mastication and speech. So incorrect VDO can lead to muscle fatigue, unang-una, or yung TMJ dysfunction, poor denture function, and altered facial appearance. Hindi mo naayos yung mga kailangan natin or yung kung bakit natin ibinabalik yung importance ng complete denture. Okay? So in denture fabrication, it is also important to distinguish between the tooth-guided occlusion and the jaw-guided relation. So magkaiba yon again. So for centric occlusion, this is the occlusion of the opposing teeth when the mandible is in centric relation. Okay? So this is also known as your maximal intercuspal position or maximum intercuspal position if the natural teeth are present. So this is guided by the teeth or tooth guided rather, just like what we've discussed earlier, rather than by the jaw joints and the ligaments. So it provides a stable occlusion pattern and dentures must mimic the centric occlusion for efficient mastication and comfort ng patient nyo. So again, the occlusion of the opposing teeth when the mandible is in centric relation. Okay? So yung occlusion mo, pwedeng nasa centric relation ka. Okay? Pero yung centric relation, it doesn't mean na yun na yung occlusion mo. Kaya kasi nga minsan, naiiba na yung bite natin due to wear and tear. Okay? Not because you're in maximum intercuspation, it means na nasa centric relation ka. But if you're in a centric relation, definitely nasa centric occlusion ka. Okay? So, huwag kayo malilito doon na. Medyo nakakalito siya, pero intindihin nyo siya ng maigi na kapag ang centric relation kasi, yan yung most repeatable relaxed position ng joint. Okay? Yung joint ang tinitignan natin dyan. When we're talking about the centric occlusion, ngipin lang. Wala tayong pakialam kung ang joint mo ay nasa relaxed position o wala. As long as your teeth are contacting simultaneously, then you are in the centric occlusion. Okay? So when we talk about the centric jaw relation naman, this is the most retruded, unstrained position of the mandible relative to the maxilla, with your condyles seated posteriorly and unstrained in the glenoid fossa. Okay? So this is guided by ligaments, which is bone to bone and not the teeth. Okay? By the term itself, occlusion, ngipin yan. So centric occlusion, they're asking you for the tooth-guided position. When you're being asked for about the centric jaw relation, then ligament-guided yan. Okay? So this is repeatable and reproducible, making it essential for the denture fabrication. So it also provides a stable reference position for arranging the denture teeth and ensures a balanced occlusion without causing the TMJ strain. So when we talk about the jaw movements beyond the centric relation that we've discussed earlier, we refer to it as the eccentric relations. Yan nga yung mga sinasabi natin na, okay, sige, kunin mo na yung centric. Kunin mo na yung eccentric. Di ba may mga naririnig kayong ganon? Yung mga sinasabi na when you're checking the bite daw during centric relation, you use the blue articulating paper. When you're checking the bite using an eccentric relation, you use a different color. Okay? Kasi when we're talking about the eccentric, yung centric relation kasi is open-close movement. Okay? Vertical movement siya. When we're talking about the eccentric relations, horizontal na yan. Okay? These are important for arranging the teeth and achieving a balanced occlusion. So to discuss each horizontal relations, for eccentric relation, this is any mandibular position other than your centric relation. So yung side to side, protrusive, retrusive, yung mga ganon. That's what you call the eccentric. Okay? So it is very important in simulating the functional movements during mastication. Kasi pag ngumunguya ka, hindi ka naman open and close, di ba? Sinaslide mo yung jaw mo. So that means when you're trying to chew, you're doing an eccentric movement. Okay? When you're opening and closing your mouth, you're doing a centric movement. Okay? Ganun nyo siya madi-differentiate. Ano bang pagkakaiba ng eccentric sa centric? Centric, vertical. Pagka side to side na, front and back, eccentric ka na nun. Okay? So protrusive relation, this is the position of the mandible when it is thrusted forward from the centric relation. Yun yung, sige nga po, labas nyo nga po yung panga nyo. Move forward. So that means, that's what we call the protrusive relation. So it helps set the condylar guidance in articulators, and this is essential for balanced occlusion and preventing interferences during forward movement. Kasi kapag may mga interferences doon sa dentures natin, it will not be stable. Magra-rock yan, side to side. Stability ang nako-compromise. Okay? Now, last would be the lateral relation, which is the position of the mandible when it is moved on either side. So, by the term lateral, side to side. Okay, sa gilid niya. So, this helps adjust the tooth inclinations for lateral occlusion, excrusions, and ensures stability during side-to-side movements. So, in complete denture fabrication, a face bow is used to accurately transfer the spatial orientation of the maxillary arch to the articulator. So, ganyan siya. Ganyan natin tinitignan. Okay? Kailangan parallel siya sa interpupillary line because once you transfer it doon sa articulator nyo, yung top portion or the upper compartment of your articulator, that would be your guide as the interpupillary line. Okay? Kaya pagka, kung kunyari, minsan naka-angulate to, okay lang yon as long as yung interpupillary line mo is parallel. May mga times kasi talaga na hindi tugma or canted yung magiging itsura ng pasyente nyo. So, before you do your face bow transfer, make sure to use your Fox plane to orient na parallel siya. Kung hindi, pag hindi siya parallel tapos minount mo siya dun sa face bow mo or face bow transfer mo siya, minount mo siya sa articulator mo, malilito ka din. Kasi yung upper compartment mo should be parallel. Yun ang para pagka kung yari, wala si patient mo, titignan mo lang yung upper compartment, yung top portion ng articulator mo, then you can assess or estimate na yun yung magiging parallel ng aesthetics ng pasyente mo. Okay? So again, pagka hindi nyo ito na idiretso, pagka mali ang angulation, kung kunyari nakayuko si patient nung tinitignan nyo, then definitely remount kayo dito agad. Okay? Kasi hindi accurate yung natatransfer nyo. So this is a caliper-like instrument that records the relationship of the maxillary arch to the anatomical reference points, usually the hinge axis or the skull landmarks. Kaya dito tayo sa tenga naglalagay. So this transfers the orientation to the articulator for precise mounting of your maxillary cast. Sir, what is the purpose? Bakit ba kailangan pa natin gumamit nito? Doc, hindi ba pwedeng i-mount ko na lang sa simple hinge? Bakit kailangan mag-face bow transfer pa ako? So this face bow transfer would ensure that the maxillary cast is mounted correctly relative to the temporomandibular joints. So this allows accurate simulation of the mandibular movements, proper occlusal plane orientation, and better balanced occlusions in dentures. Kasi nga, ang simple hinge, paano ba ang movement yan? Open and close lang. Kaya hindi mo siya pwedeng ma-side to side. Unlike with your semi-adjustable articulator, nagagawa mo siya ng side to side. Namumove mo siya. Even protrusive, retrusive, nagagalaw mo siya. Okay? So this would prevent errors in tooth arrangement and jaw relation records, which is usually caused by the misalignment of your maxilla. Now for the mounting, let's discuss the different types of articulators. Kasi tinatanong din to sa board exam, no? Nilagay ko rin dito kung ano-ano yung available here in the Philippines na ganyang klaseng articulator para at least ma-identify nyo kung anong articulator yung meron kayo ngayon. So to define, the articulator is a mechanical device that simulates the temporomandibular joints or the TMJ and the jaw movements. So it allows us to mount the maxillary and mandibular cast to reproduce some, or all mandibular movements outside the patient's mouth. So even if your patient is not there with you, then you can study their case. You can arrange the teeth para lesser din yung chair time ng pasyente. Okay? So This helps with the arrangement of teeth accurately for functioning and aesthetics, simulates the occlusal contacts, protrusive and lateral movements, and prevents interferences that could compromise your denture function. So yung tatlo that can compromise the retention, stability, and the support of your denture. Okay? So what are the different classifications of the articulators? So first one to be this we will be discussing would be your class 1 type of articulator. So this is a simple hinge. Ang example niya is your simple hinge. Yung ibang schools, ang tawag nila dito is yung dog type kasi open and close lang siya. So pagka may mga na-encounter kayong words na ganun, so it's a class 1 articulator. Okay? So non-adjustable, this is non-adjustable, meaning it can only accept a single static registration. So isa lang, open and close lang siya. Vertical motion lang ang nakakapture niya. So mainly, this is used for basic tooth arrangement and static occlusion. But again, pagka ginamit mo to, like for example, pagka nagka-crowns kami in our private practice, tapos we're just using the simple hinge, ang nagiging problem talaga, may ano pa rin magbabawas ka pa rin inside the patient's mouth. So, mas malaki yung binabawas mo. Mas madaling magbawas outside the patient's mouth. Mas madaling mag-polish, di ba? So, it's better for you to use a semi-adjustable articulator, especially if you need an accuracy in terms of the bite ng pasyente mo. Now, to discuss the class 2 articulator, examples yan would be the BioArt 1000 or the BioArt 2000. This is still a non-adjustable articulator and has a mean value or average value. So it allows horizontal and vertical movements but not fully oriented to the TMJ. So another classification dito would be your magnetic articulator. So this is useful for average jaw movements when exact TMJ orientation is not critical. Kung hindi ka naman nag-aayos ng TMJ, then okay lang yon. Okay, you can use your magnetic. So for class 3, for advanced complete denture fabrication, semi-adjustable and fully adjustable articulators would allow us to simulate the jaw movements more accurately, improving occlusions and the function. So for class 3 semi-adjustable articulator, ito na yung mga meron kayo. So I'm not sure kasi about dun sa yung ibang mga brands, yung Best yata yon, tsaka yung Frontier. Hindi ko sure kung anong classification nila. Pero kasi ang gamit ko is the BioArt A7 Plus. So, this simulates the condylar pathways using averages or mechanical equivalents. Kaya tayo nagsaset ng 15 degrees and 30 degrees. So, ang palatandaan ko doon, 15 degrees dahil mas maliit siya, yun siya sa mas maliit na knob. Kasi 'di ba meron yan, dalawa yung i-adjust mo dyan eh. Meron yung mas malalaki yung numbers, mas malaki din yung i-adjust mo doon. So 30 degrees ang i-adjust mo doon. Okay? So this allows orientation of cast relative to the TMJ. Ito na yung sinasimulate mo na, yung TMJ. So this can be archon or non-archon. So ano ba ang meaning ng archon? It's your articulator and your condyle. Okay, yun ang archon. AR for your articulator and then the con for your condyle. So for archon articulators, the condyle analogs in the mandibular element, fossa assemblies, and the maxillary element. So again, for the archon, when we talk about the archon, okay, so when we talk about the archon, yung mandibular element niya, ibig sabihin yung lower compartment, yung bottom portion, 'di ba dalawang parts yung articulator niya, yung taas and then yung sa baba. Yung minamountan ng maxilla and then yung minamountan ng mandibular. So for the condyle analogs, it is in the mandibular element, while the fossa assemblies is in the maxillary element. So nasa taas siya. Okay? Condylar guidance located in the upper member or the cranial member, ball analog in the lower mandibular member. Okay? So parang yung sa jaw talaga natin. So this closely resembles the natural TMJ movements. It would provide more accurate simulation of the occlusal contacts. While for the non-archon articulator, the condylar element is not part of the lower member. Okay? So yun ang difference niya. Doc, paano mo i-explain sa amin ano bang diferensya ng archon versus non-archon? So for the archon, sa lower compartment, you have your condylar analogs. While for the non-archon, it's not part of your lower member na. Wala na siyang condylar analogs or condylar elements. So attached to the upper member and still simulates three-dimensional movements but less anatomic but is still functional for jaw simulations. Pero again, hindi ganun ka parehas. It's not as the same as your TMJ. It's not close to your TMJ. Okay? So for class 4 or the fully adjustable articulators, example for this one would be your Stewart articulator. So this accepts three-dimensional dynamic registrations and allows precise orientations of the cast to the TMJ. So it also simulates all, okay? So take note of the all mandibular movements. So both, lahat yan, even the protrusive, laterotrusive, yung retrusive ng mandible mo, yung mga ganon, and the centric relation. So this provides the most accurate reproduction of the patient's specific jaw motions. So class 3, again, is sufficient for most dentures. So pwede na si class 3 natin. But class 4 is needed for complex occlusal rehabilitation requiring exact replication of jaw movements. So if you're going to fix the bite of your patient, yung functional occlusion, kasi eventually in your private practice, you will be encountering the functional occlusion. So if you're going to do that, then you should use a class 4 or a fully adjustable articulator. Kasi meron pa rin kulang kay class 3. Pwede na siya. Maganda na si semi-adjustable. Pero kulang pa din. Mag-a-adjust ka pa rin inside your patient's mouth. Okay? So once the jaw relations and occlusion rims are verified, we begin the anterior setup of the denture teeth. So this is critical for aesthetics, phonetics, and functional occlusion. So for the anterior try-in, before final processing, we have to perform a trial of the anterior teeth to verify the records, ensure that the VDO, centric relation, and jaw relations are maintained, na hindi siya nawala, hindi siya gumalaw during your mounting. Aesthetics, you have to check the smile line, lip support, and facial proportions. Phonetics, have the patient pronounce sibilant sounds. So what are the sibilant sounds? That would be your S and your Z sounds. Your frivocatives, your F and V sounds. And bilabial, which are your P, B, and M sounds. Okay? This is to confirm proper tooth placement. So what are the axial inclinations of the maxillary anterior teeth? So when we talk about the axial inclinations, yun yung nakaside siya, naka-angulate siya. Okay? So for your maxillary central incisors, 0 to 1 degrees ang inclination niya, halos diretso. Okay? When we're talking about the maxillary laterals, it has a 1 to 2 degrees inclination. Tapos, pag nakita mo naman, maxillary canines, it should have a 3 to 5 degrees inclination. Kaya, ang nangyayari is when you're trying to set the teeth, is may space between the premolar and the canine. Di ba nangyayari sa atin yun? Bakit may space? Bakit hindi siya nagko-close? Kasi hindi natin na-angulate, hindi natin na-incline properly yung mga ngipin. Okay? So, I hope that's clear. So, these inclinations will help natural appearance of teeth, proper guidance of mandibular movements, and phonetic function during the speech ng pasyente. So for phonetics, what are the different sounds and description? Let's describe each and one of those. What are the clinical relevance? Bakit natin kailangan ibalik? So phonetics is a critical check during the denture try-in. And each type of sound would help us verify the tooth position, the vertical dimension, and the occlusion of your patients. Okay? So for the bilabial sounds or the B, P, and M sounds, this is made by the contact of the lips. Okay, so we can assess the interarch space using these sounds and check the lip support and anterior tooth display. So kung kunyari, kulang, wala siya nung Mississippi, wala siya nung ganon. So you have to adjust your anterior setting. It has to contact the lips. Okay? Baka masyadong malayo or masyadong forward yung pagkakaset mo. Okay? Atras mo siya. Now, for the labiodental sounds, which are your F and your V sounds, this is made between the maxillary incisors and the lower lip. Okay, so what is the clinical relevance for this? It is the position of the maxillary incisal edges. So, kunyari, wala sila nung fish, wala silang vase, yung mga ganon, then definitely they don't have enough space or hindi tama yung position niya from the lips, from the lower lip up to the maxillary incisal edges. Okay? So, yun ang mga ina-adjust natin. So, this will ensure proper lip-tooth contact during the speech of your patients. Now, for the lingodental sounds, yun yung TH, yun yung this, that, these, and those. So, the tip of the tongue slightly between the upper and lower anterior teeth. So, kung kunyari, masyadong malayo, masyadong naka-flare yung ginawa mo, mahihirapan si patient dun sa sound ng TH. Okay? Or masyadong pasok. Wala siya masyadong space between the tongue and the upper and lower anterior teeth. Then mahihirapan din siyang magsalita nung this, that, these, and those. Okay? So those are different examples of words na pwede mong itanong kay patient to check if you've arranged the teeth properly. So it helps us check the vertical overlap and the incisal edge positioning, kung tama ba or kung kailangan natin i-adjust sa articulator. Okay? Now for the linguoalveolar sounds, that would be your T sounds, your D sounds, N, L, and S sounds. This is made by the tip of the tongue contacting the alveolus or the lingual of the anterior teeth. So clinical relevance, it verifies the labiolingual tooth position and ensures comfortable tongue space. Okay? So pagka nagkakaproblema sa mga ganyang sounds, then alam mo na kung ano yung i-adjust mo. So is it the tongue space? Wala ba akong neutral zone doon? Is it the position of my labiolingual tooth arrangement? Masyado ba siyang nasa labial portion? Masyado ba siyang nakatilt towards the lingual? Okay? So at least with this chart, alam nyo din kung paano nyo siya i-adjust. Okay? Next one would be the sibilant sounds. Sibilant sounds, these are your S and Z. So you can ask your patient to count from 61 to 69 or you ask them to say Mississippi. Yung mga ganon. Okay? So sharp alveolar sounds because the tongue and the alveolus form the controlling valve. So it measures the closest speaking space or what we call the Silverman space, wherein the teeth would nearly touch during the S but do not contact. Okay? Meron dapat yan 1 to 1.5 millimeter clearance. So pagka masyadong maliit yung speaking space mo, if it's lesser than your 1 to 1.5 millimeter clearance, then you would have a whistling sound. Okay? May ganun yung S niya. But if it's more than the 1 to 1.5 millimeter clearance, you will have an SH sound. May lisp yung S ng patient mo. Okay? So for lingopalatal sounds, that's your SH, your Z, your CH, your J, R, and Y. This is made against the palate. So this confirms the palatal contours and anterior portion or anterior posterior tooth position rather. Okay? So for your lingopalatal sounds, you have to check. Minsan kasi, ang nangyayari, Dok, okay naman yung sound niya kanina, bakit ngayon nawawala yung mga ganun? So, ang pwede kasing cause niyan is nasobrahan mo yung wax on that portion, kumapal siya. Kaya nagkakaroon ng SH or nagkakaroon ng CH, mga ganun. Okay? So for lingovelar sounds, that would be your K and G and your G sounds. This is made with the posterior dorsal tongue contacting your soft palate. So this will verify the position of the posterior tooth and palatal spacing. So pagka may problem ka sa mga K and G, yung ng or G, then probably you have a problem with the posterior tooth arrangement. Okay? So just to summarize, yung pinaka gist netong slide na to is that speech testing ensures the proper tooth position, the vertical dimension, and the occlusion. Okay, and different sound groups assess specific areas. So for the bilabial, it would assess the lips and interarch space. For the labiodental, it would assess the maxillary incisal edges. For the lingodental and lingoalveolar, this would assess the tongue space and tooth positions. For the sibilant sounds, this would assess your closest speaking space. For the lingopalatal and lingovelar sounds, this would assess the posterior teeth and the palatal contours. Okay? So after the anterior teeth are verified for aesthetics, phonetics, and jaw relations, we will then proceed with the posterior setup. So this is critical for mastication, stability, and balanced occlusion. So what are the different types or posterior teeth occlusion schemes? So as we've discussed earlier, yung mga monoplane, balance occlusion, yung mga ganon. So these are the tooth form, kung paano kayo mamimili ng pontic na gagamitin nyo. So the tooth form, if it's non-anatomic, then the cuspal angle would be 0 degree, meaning the occlusal scheme would be a monoplane occlusion. So this is usually used for patients with a flat plane or poor neuromuscular control, resorbed ridges. Severely resorbed ridges, mas okay na mag-monoplane occlusion ka. And for patients with a class 2 or class 3 jaw relations. Now, if you're going to use a semi-anatomic, the cuspal angle would be about 10 to 20 degrees. So the occlusion scheme for this would be a balanced occlusion. This is used for patients that needs a balance for aesthetics and function. So yan yung mga moderate lang yung cuspal incline, yung mga cusps niya, mabababa pa din. Okay? Pero may locking factor. So for the anatomic, which is the cuspal angle would be 33 to 45 degrees, the occlusion scheme is still balanced occlusion. So for full cuspal anatomy, this is used for well-formed ridges and good neuromuscular control. So what are the clinical relevance? Bakit ba kailangan pa natin tong aralin, Dok? So for monoplane teeth, this is easier to adapt for patients with severely resorbed ridges. So kung ang mga pasyente nyo is halos wala na talagang ridge, then might as well you use a monoplane occlusion. Okay? For semi-anatomic teeth, this offers better aesthetics and moderate chewing efficiency. Anatomic teeth, this is best for stable ridges and balanced occlusion. And posterior teeth must be arranged to maintain the centric relation, eccentric guidance, yung side to side, front and back, and overall occlusal harmony. Okay? So now let's discuss what is a Christensen's phenomenon. Christensen's phenomenon is named after the founder, Carl Christensen, a Danish dentist and educator. So it refers to a space that develops between the opposing occlusal surfaces during mandibular protrusion. So pansinin nyo, kapag kayo, when you try to move your jaw forward, when you try to protrude your jaw, nagkakaroon ng space dito sa likod. 'Di ba? Kasi bumababa yung angulation ng because of the TMJ yan because of the temporal mandibular joint. So bumababa siya. Okay? Nagkakaroon ng space. So this occurs when the mandible moves forward during the protrusion movement, wherein the posterior teeth would separate, creating a gap at the distal occlusion. So this is very important for denture design and occlusal adjustments and must be considered when arranging your posterior teeth on your complete dentures. Okay, sinaslide nyo rin yan. So this helps prevent interferences during the forward mandibular movements and ensure balanced occlusion and protrusive excrusions. Okay, so I hope that's clear. So now let's discuss the monoplane occlusion. So monoplane occlusion is a non-anatomic, again, monoplane, iisa lang yung plane niya, flat lang siya. Okay? Wherein the teeth are set flat to flat or along a compensating curve to achieve the balance. So especially this is used for patients with skeletal class 2 or class 3 profiles, severely resorbed ridges, and crossbite cases. Okay? Ginagamit natin siya. Advantages for this type of occlusion would be it can be adaptable for difficult jaw relations, useful in crossbite situations, and minimizes occlusal interferences. While the disadvantage of this, it has a poor penetrating power due to the lack of cusps. So, hindi makakanguya ng maayos ang patients nyo. So, it has a less efficient mastication in terms of digesting the food. Ganun pa din. Hindi pa rin ganun kaganda na nachuchu niya properly yung mga pagkain. And it has a less aesthetic appearance. Kasi parang may attrition kapag ka tinignan mo. Okay? So balance articulation refers to the bilateral simultaneous contact of teeth on both sides of the arch in centric and eccentric positions. So it is a key principle in the denture occlusion for stability and function. So what are the positions for bilateral simultaneous contact? So we have the centric relations wherein the jaws closed in retruded position, protrusive relation wherein the mandible would move forward, right lateral relation wherein the mandible would move towards the right side, and the left lateral relation wherein the mandible would move towards the left side. So what are the advantages for this balanced articulation? So first advantage is that it has a better food penetration due to its steeper cusps. Buo yung cusps niya So may panguya yung pasyente mo. It also has an improved aesthetics with a more natural tooth form. Kasi nga, buo, lahat ng ipin, kitang-kita mo. Okay? And also enhances stability during function and exclusive movements. So the disadvantages of this, it's technically challenging to achieve. Okay? Kaya minsan nahihirapan tayo, bakit ganun? Ayaw niyang mag-cusp to cusp, cusp to fossa. Kasi minsan, yung patients natin, hindi naman indicated sa kanila ang balance articulation, but we still do the balance articulation. We're still trying to achieve. Okay? So steeper cusp inclines can create harmful lateral forces on the residual ridges if improperly arranged. So in 1926, Rudolf Hanau, a pioneer in prosthodontics, described 5 key factors for achieving balanced denture articulation. So collectively, these are called the Hanau squint. So yun yung mga tinatanong na ano-ano ba yung 5 laws ng Hanau squint? So ang purpose ng Hanau squint is that it provides rules for arrangement of the teeth to achieve a bilateral balance occlusion in complete dentures. So it also guides the incisal guidance, condylar guidance, cusp selection, occlusal plane, and the compensating curves. So what are the 5 laws? First law would be the condylar guidance. So condylar guidance, again, it is determined by the TMJ anatomy and would guide the mandibular movements. When we talk about the incisal guidance, this is determined by the anterior teeth, the positioning of your anterior teeth. So it guides the anterior teeth contacts during protrusion. Okay? So for occlusal plane, this is the alignment of the posterior and anterior teeth and influences stability, function, and aesthetics of your dentures. So for cuspal inclinations naman, ang rule dyan or ang law dyan is that the angle of the posterior cusps affect the food penetration, the mastication efficiency, and the balance contact when the patient is using the dentures you have fabricated for them. So last law for the Hanau squint would be your compensating curve. Compensating curve is the curvature of the occlusal plane, which is an anteroposterior and mediolateral plane, which maintains the bilateral contacts during eccentric movements. Okay? So, to summarize, Hanau squint ensures a bilateral balance in centric and eccentric positions wherein proper guidance and cusp arrangements are done. So, functional mastication and stability is also ensured by using the Hanau squint or the 5 laws of articulation. So, always consider these 5 factors when arranging the teeth for your complete denture. Okay? Wait lang. Okay. Now, for complete denture fabrication, compensating curves are used to maintain the bilateral balance occlusion during the eccentric jaw movements. So, tapusin lang natin to and then yung itong last slide na to. Tapos, lunch break muna tayo. We'll come back after an hour. Tapos, we'll be continuing yung mga nandito. Siguro mga around 3:30 or 4 tapos na tayo. Okay? So to discuss the compensating curves which are used to maintain the bilateral balance occlusion during eccentric jaw movements. So the anteroposterior and mediolateral curvatures of the occluding surfaces and incisal edges of the denture teeth would help simulate the natural mandibular movements rather, and maintain the occlusal balance. So what are the different types of compensating curves? So we have the anteroposterior curve, which is what we call the curve of Spee, wherein the curvature of the mandibular occlusal plane from the anterior to posterior. So this will help maintain contact of posterior teeth during protrusive movements. Yun yung bumababa siya. Ito, curve of Spee. Okay? From to, yung anteroposterior portion. Now for the mediolateral curve, which is what we call the curve of Wilson, this is the curvature across the arch from left to right. So this ensures a contact of buccal and lingual cusps during lateral movements. So when we're talking about the anteroposterior curve, when you look at it from the side, this will give you the curve of Spee. When you look at it from the front view, which is a mediolateral curve, you will have the curve of Wilson. If you combine both of this will give you a 3-dimensional sphere, which is called the curve of Monsoon. Okay, so an 8-inch sphere that combines both the curve of Spee and the curve of Wilson. That's what we call the curve of Monsoon. So, ganun lang siya kadali intindihin. Okay? So, do you have questions so far? Meron po ba? Wala? Okay, so let's come back ng 1:10 p.m. Okay, lunch break muna tayo. And then, kukontinue natin to. Siguro, last 10 slides to. Konti na lang to. Okay? And then, ano rin tayo, question analysis tayo after an hour. Okay? Happy lunch!